Welcome to Menopause Diaries Unfiltered. I'm Jackie Grant, your host with over a decade experience of working with peri to postmenopausal women who want to lose weight 15 to 20 pounds within 4 months without calorie counting, restrictive dieting, or spending all their time in the gym with natural solutions. I've delivered menopause workshops to councils, adult learning services, community organisations, and National Health Service in London whilst running a community interest company that I deliver and host menopause and women's health cafe in my borough. This Menopause Diaries, the podcast where we get real about menopause, the weight, the mood, the sleepless nights, the wins, the hard days, unfiltered, unscripted, and unapologetic. Honest. Anyway, we have our amazing host, Emma Fullwood, who is an intimate coach that works with all women, single or in a relationship, to navigate the physical and emotional changes that menopause brings. Welcome, Emma.
Oh, welcome, Jackie. Thank you for that introduction. It's lovely to be here. Wow, you've done a lot of things for your community and for women. That's brilliant. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, Emma, let's start off with you telling me a bit about you and your journey through menopause.
So, yeah, I now realise that I probably went through perimenopause when I had my boy, who's now 14. I never really bled properly. I was always a light bleeder. So I just presumed I'd had a child and it had got even lighter to the point that it was quite a dark blood.
Right.
And this was before menopause was really talked about. So he was born in 2011.
Yeah.
I actually went on to become a menopause specialist in fitness because my background was fitness and my background was pelvic floor. So I trained with an amazing woman called Jenny Burrell
Oh,
Education. Yeah,
same as me.
did you? Yeah. So, she is, she knows her stuff. I know she's
Yeah.
not as well known as Davina McCall. And this is not bitching Davina off in any way, but this woman knows women's health, really knows women's health. And Michelle Lyons, who's a hysterectomy
Yes.
specialist.
Yes.
So, there I am thinking, well, I'm not going to have a problem with perimenopause because I'm fit. I did
Yeah.
a bikini competition, really into my fitness. I was a
Yeah.
gym bunny. I've been healthy all my life.
Yeah.
I've done these courses. There's absolutely nothing that, I don't know about perimenopause.
Yeah.
And realizing now, I was probably, like I said, in it from when I had my boy.
Yeah.
And that was the start of it. And then in 2019, I totally lost my bleed, like totally.
Yeah.
And I was actually, I wasn't too thin. I wasn't a gym bunny then. I was
Mm.
stressed, but not particularly stressed. I'd actually just got into a new relationship. So I
Mm.
had all the love hormones going,
Yes. Bless
And then my bleed just stopped. It just literally stopped August 2019. And since August 2019, and for those watching, we're in 2026 April now,
you.
listening, because it's maybe an old recording. So, for the last 6 years, I've had 2 spots of blood. And it just literally went. And what happened when it went was, okay, great. I'm in a new relationship and now periods aren't going to get in the way.
Yes.
Know that periods have really special. And actually, what I've since learned is how awesome they are for our body to have. The
Mm.
later that you continue to bleed, the better. So obviously, it has affected my collagen and my bones and
Mm.
everything, my aches and my pains.
Mm.
So yeah, but the main thing that happened was I realized that I must have had PMDD all my life, which is
Mm.
basically the
Mm.
10 days of the month you are not yourself. You
Mm.
feel suicidal. It's really dark. It's really
Mm.
hard. You really hate yourself, you know?
Mm. Mm.
And now I realized I had that, but it was made worse because now, obviously, like I said, now I've done a lot more learning on myself. So it's not a
Yeah,
course, you learn about yourself.
of course.
And that's why when people say, "Oh, what should I do? What should I take?" There's no answer because
Mm.
it's yourself. Um, but what I realize is with the PMDD, every time you bleed, when you get on the toilet and all of a sudden the bleed's in the pants or the bleed happens, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I've come on my period. There's this
Yeah.
relief, isn't there? There's this release, but what
Yes.
wasn't happening was there was no release.
Right.
So actually, the PMDD, this kind of, if you don't know what that is or how it feels, it's like a PMS, like a
Mm,
rage that has
mm,
nowhere to go.
mm,
It's like an anxiety and a darkness and a suicidal thoughts, and
mm,
when you got that sweatiness, that anxious sweatiness before your bleed, it's
mm.
that with no release. So
Right.
it was absolute chaotic time. And at the time, we remember what happened in 2020. So
Yeah.
I'm navigating whatever is going on with my bleed,
Mm,
navigating a child schooling at home, a business, my boy's dad, an alcoholic, going
mm.
into rehab. And then as I was coming out of all this, my father then passed. So you've got
Um,
massive grief on top of it. And I was
yeah.
like, wow, I have never hit rock bottom like that. I have never felt like, the only way I can describe it is like I was on a roller coaster without a harness every single day. And I
Wow.
was just doing, and that was what was happening with my nervous system.
Mm, mm.
So yeah, that's the story.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've had a roller coaster, haven't you?
Oh,
Gosh, for
yeah,
such a long time as well. So if you
yeah,
think about the time scale was 8 years, wasn't it?
yeah,
Up to 2020 and then
yeah. Sorry,
beyond.
ladies. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, wow. And then finding out that you had PMDD at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was told or asked years, well, my mum thought years ago that I might have bipolar. This
Right,
was when, years ago, we didn't know about any of this stuff. So, and,
exactly.
I teach all my clients now and all the women, like, track your teenagers' bleeds, track your
Yes,
bleed. I
yes,
even tell the men that I work with, and my partner who's got two teenage daughters, track their bleed, know when
yes,
they're on the bleed, ask them what
yes,
they need. But,
yes.
it wasn't that. It was just you bled every month, and as a young girl, you don't bleed. So sometimes you don't bleed every month.
Yeah.
So she was a great mom, but never picked this up. What she did pick up
Mm,
is, I wonder if you have bipolar. But the
mm,
medication for bipolar back then, I think it was very different. And I don't think she really wanted me to go down that route. It was like when the school teacher said, I think Emma might have dyslexia, and my mum
mm.
can't remember what they called it, but it would have been a type of ADHD stroke autism, special
Right,
needs, I think
right,
that they might have said to my mum. Now,
right.
I was this all singing, all dancing performer. I was this happy girl that loved to be on stage.
Yeah.
So when my mum, she knew that there might be something, but when the
Mm,
school teacher said, I think your daughter's got dyslexia and learning difficulties
mm,
and almost special needs, of course, my
mm.
mum was like, it was a different time back then.
For sure.
So she was like, no, she doesn't.
Mm,
My mom actually died just 6 months ago, and one of the conversations we actually had together was her apologising to me for
mm.
not understanding. And I was like, oh, you don't have to. I didn't know either, but she was like, she loved Top Sante magazine, and she loved This Morning, with Kat
Yes,
Deely and whatnot, and these things are being talked about. So
yeah.
quite often, she would message me on my WhatsApp and go, do you think you might have PMDD, Emma? And I was like, yes, Mum. I did tell you that a few years ago. Do you think you might have ADHD? Yes, Mum. Do you think
Uh,
you are dyslexic? And I was like, yes, Mum. Do.
oh, oh.
So,
Sorry for your loss, Emma.
I think it happens to a lot of women our age when we are navigating menopause.
I know.
We're navigating grief. And I think what we're also navigating grief of relationships either breaking down. Like, so
Mm,
even if you want to split with your partner, even if you're like, okay, this is a good thing, you're
mm,
actually grieving the relationship that you thought you were going to have together, the life that you thought you were going to
yeah,
have together.
yeah.
Family dogs die, grandparents die, parents die,
Mm,
all within that moment that menopause comes.
I know, I know. I had exactly the same thing. So I had my dad die 2020.
Mm,
Um, my mum died 2022. My cat died 2023.
there we
And that
go.
cat, like when I started working out, because the cat was 24, right? My cat lasted
Oh,
long, right?
wow.
I know. And like literally, that cat was with me since I was 28. When I worked
Yeah.
it out, I was like my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, just into my 50s. That cat was with me.
And they're spiritual animals, aren't they?
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
So it was, yeah. So exactly what you're saying, grief upon grief. And then, like, you're losing your period. So that's a shift then again. And then you're thinking, oh, I'm getting older. Do you know what I mean?
That's grief and navigating the age. I can remember my mum saying it's like you're not seen anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand exactly what she meant. But actually, yesterday I was on a walk because I have to get outside and walk every day, part
Yeah.
of the keeping yourself
Yes.
well. And I was on a walk and I looked at this old dog crossing the road, like one of the owners trying to get it across the road
Yes.
kind of thing and pulling it across the road. And I was like, oh, look at that dog. Wow. And
Mm.
then I saw an old person and I thought, oh my God, I didn't really say that to that old person. Not like, oh, what a shame it's old, but I didn't really see that old person.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, that's what my mom was kind of saying. Nobody sees you, you know.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, so there's grief of getting old, grief of your body changing. I'm
Mm.
now deciding to grow my hair out. I'm like, do you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just grow this grey out and embrace it. But
Yes.
that's been a journey of like,
Yeah.
okay, I am not 30 anymore, right?
Yes.
I'm not. I'm, not that far off 50.
Yeah.
So just grow the grey hair out. And still look cool and trendy, but actually embrace it because the roots are driving me insane. And just embrace it. And yeah, but it is, and the body changes as well. It's challenging. It is challenging for sure.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say were, other than what you've told me, what things really surprised you about perimenopause?
Everything. I think because none of my friends were going through it. So
Right.
I'm slightly older than a lot of my friends, 5 years, even 10
Mm,
years with some of them.
mm,
And obviously, because I went through menopause, kind of like, I hate to say early menopause, but everyone understands what I mean, quite early.
mm.
Nobody got me. So it was the immense brain fog. Now, we have to be careful with brain fog and overstimulation. We
Yeah.
have to be careful with calling it brain fog and too much on your plate.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes, I stopped saying, oh, perimenopausal brain fog when I forgot something, because actually it wasn't that. It was like, I am trying to juggle 10 things. And
Yes.
nobody, I don't care who they are, can juggle 10 things, So
That's
I think we
right.
have to be really careful with that. I think we have to be really careful when we're causing it menopause brain fog. And actually, we're trying to answer the kid, walk the dog, scroll social media, or answer an email or a WhatsApp, and do something at the same time. So we have to be really careful. But
Mm,
just to understand, what I call brain fog is actually getting in the car and having to say to your child, I'm going to have to pull the car over because I don't feel safe to drive the car. I can't remember how to drive the car.
mm.
My child was, what, I don't know, 9 or whatever at the time, and he was just like, you are.
Wow.
You drive me to school every day. And I was like, you're going to have to ring your dad, tell your dad your mommy doesn't feel very well. So that was a massive surprise. Driving around a car park, trying to find a parking space when there's 600 in front of you. And my boy, again, was 8 or 9 at the time, said,
Mm.
do you want me to park it? So that's when you and unable to open voice notes, unable to answer the phone. I still struggle with those now. Unable to
Mm,
open mail, unable to open the front door. I mean, this was a woman that before this happened was on stages like yourself, had communities of clients,
mm,
was well known in the area. And I was
mm.
like, I went to Hugo's school play, and I was always the chatty one at the school gate. And one of the mums came over, and I just had to say, I can't talk. She was like, Are you? She went, I can't talk. The
Yeah.
other thing was I had to go into Boots and get some antiseptic cream for a bite,
Mm, mm.
And I got to the counter and I went to to ask for the antiseptic cream, and no words came out of my mouth.
Wow.
I couldn't speak. And then because of this, my job is speaking. I love speaking. Um, I'm this happy-go-lucky person that's just gone to Boots. All I want to do is get the cream. That's all I've got to do today. All I've got to do today is get this cream.
Mm,
So, off I go. And people were seeing me in the street, like not bothering with makeup, not bothering with anything. And I
mm.
couldn't get my words out. And then I went into a panic attack and they had to sit me down on a chair at Boots. And I felt sick. And it was just all nervous system
Yeah.
and whatnot. And I felt like, when my mom, she was only trying to help me, she was like, well, you used to be all right. And, that makes it worse because it's like
Yeah.
saying to somebody, well, you used to have legs.
Yes. Yes.
You would never say to a blind person or somebody, you used to be able to see. And
Yeah.
I've had to say to her, can you? Because actually, it's, even with my own partner who has been amazing, but it's like, oh, you used to like intimacy this way.
Yes.
You used to be able to go to the gym. Well, I can't go to the gym now. And like, Jesus Christ, well, and it was,
Yeah.
and but the biggest thing that actually I asked for help, I actually rang up my boy's dad,
Mm,
who is now 4 years sober. So massive congratulations.
brilliant.
We absolutely adore him. Is a real good friend of mine. I
Mm,
helped him with alcohol. He helped me with menopause, right? So we've actually,
brilliant.
it's brought us back together really as a dysfunctional family. But
Mm,
I said I can't do this. I actually, for a mom to actually say to an ex-partner, you may have to have our child full
mm.
time, and I might have to. Do you know what? I remember my mum saying, I want to just go in the Priory for 6 weeks. I can remember growing up, and she'd say that. I wish somebody had put me,
Okay.
I wish somebody had put me in the Priory. And at the time, for 6 weeks to get my bed made and my tea and stuff, it used to be just a statement that she said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking back now, she would have been going through a type of menopause and obviously didn't
Yes.
know about it.
Yes.
So I literally was Googling the Priory for mental health disorder. And we've all done it. I don't know a menopausal woman that hasn't said, Googled, have I got a brain tumor? Or am I mental? Or,
Yes.
I don't know, or suicidal thoughts and
Yeah.
Samaritan's numbers. And this is what I'm about. It is quite normal to feel this way,
Mm,
very normal to feel this way.
mm.
And I think the more we talk about it instead of menopausal brain fog, because that's not getting us anywhere, the more
That's
we are
right.
serious and saying, I am overstimulated or I am overwhelmed.
Yes.
And the more that we actually say, it's got that bad that I actually don't want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't actually end up, my boy's dad didn't end up having my child full time. I kind of struggled on through it, so to
Great.
speak.
Yeah.
But I definitely think without the two men in my life, so this is, well, three men, my boy, although he
Yes.
drives me mad. Three men in my life, my boy's dad and my current partner,
Yes.
and this is bigging up men, right? They've both got their own things going on,
Yes.
we've
Yes.
both got their own issues, which I've shared about. But I was really truthful for them, and the two men, I think, saved my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and I don't think they would have done if I wasn't honest. If I would have been
Mm,
screaming, I mean, I did scream and I did shout and I did cry, But if I would have just been with that, I'm fine, nothing's wrong,
Yes,
I'm fine.
yes,
Whereas
yes.
actually it was like, I know I used to be able to do this, I can no longer drive. I know I used to be able to do this, I can't, you
Mm,
know? And
mm,
allowing them, because often us women can be little control freaks. And
mm.
if it's not done our way, it's not done right. Right? It's never the man doesn't do this. It is, no, the man doesn't do it right. That's why he stopped doing it. So I let go of the control of everything to the
Yes,
point that my partner would say, I've ordered you he doesn't live with me, I've ordered you a Tesco food shop.
yes.
And I didn't say, what have you ordered? Or you forgot
Yeah.
the washing up liquid. You know, when the delivery came, bearing in mind he doesn't, live with me, when the delivery came and there was chicken and there was broccoli and there was something that he remembers my boy likes, and there was all cat food and everything. I didn't say you got the wrong brand of cat food.
Yeah, yeah,
No, it was thank you,
yeah.
thank you. And when I went round my boy's dad's house and he was like, how are you? I would, I called it a wonky bonky conky mess, which was kind of almost a thingy that I didn't want my boy to hear that I'm suicidal, you know?
Mm, of course.
So we, and navigated it. But the way that we can, it's like a shift of energies in the household. And
Yeah.
maybe you've done everything and blah, blah, blah. And then it's the shift and allowing the men to hold you.
Mm, mm,
If you hate the way that they empty, if you hate the way that they fill the dishwasher up, let them fill the dishwasher up and empty the dishwasher, and then you don't even know what the dishwasher stuff is. Just let it go, right? Just let it go and let somebody take care of you.
That's amazing, Emma. I mean, the thing is that there's so many things in what you said just now. I mean, the driving bit I connect with definitely. How's your driving now?
Better. No, it is better. It is
Better.
better. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And actually, having someone hold space for you and do things for you, that is so powerful, because sometimes, like you say, like we just want things done a certain way. And we just don't want to, do you know what I mean, shift or move or see outside of that. And it can be difficult during this time to actually even get into that headspace of actually doing that. But what something you said was it's about talking about it. Once you talk about it, once you have that conversation, that brings you back down. That brings your nervous system back down. That makes you feel a bit better
Yeah.
that someone's listening.
And also, as telling the other person, I don't want you to fix me. I don't want you to give me the solution. I
Yes,
don't want you to say, get on HRT.
yes,
Not that, I don't want you to say, go to the doctors. I
yes,
mean, my boy's dad did say that constantly. But
yeah.
let's just, let go. But my partner, who I was, in a relationship with, I said to him, please don't fix me. Please don't ask me any questions. Can you just,
Mm,
when I share, can you hold me?
mm,
Or if I share with you, because he's a very loving man, if I share with you, I need space. Can you not follow me into the bedroom? Can you not go for the hug because I'm saying I need space? And
yeah.
with that becomes his rejection issues.
Yes,
We're all human beings. So
yes, of course.
me saying I need space, he used to feel rejected because he wanted to love me and fix me. And I was like,
Mm,
so, but just sharing that. And now we're like 6 years into the relationship. And when I say, do you know what, I'm just going to go into the room, just going to have a little bit of space,
mm,
he actually even says it now. He even messages me with, I'd really like to come and see you,
mm,
because he doesn't, as I say, doesn't live with me. But
mm,
are you in a space to for me to be there? Like, how
mm.
awesome is that?
Oh,
Because
that's
we've
brilliant.
all been on holidays and we've all had family round. And truthfully, although we loved them, if we were told the truth, we wouldn't have said yes.
Yes,
So we end up being snappy.
yeah.
and the anger is simply our needs not being met. When menopausal women can understand that it's our needs aren't being met, that's what anger is, as well as fear. So I was angry when I couldn't park the car. That's fear.
Yeah.
Right. So when we understand it's either our needs not being met or fear, then we can work through that. So yeah.
Brilliant. So Emma, I want to talk about what you actually do. Just tell us a little bit about that, and then, tell people where they can find you.
So I noticed that in menopause, which I've just said, I started to not like to be touched, even by my new partner. So we'd been through the honeymoon period.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, get off me. And I was like, oh, we were having amazing intimacy. And then all of a sudden it was get off me, the hot sweats and whatever.
Yeah.
And then so I was a pelvic floor specialist, and I actually was like, oh, that's quite interesting. And then I delved deeper. I discovered that through my own rituals and practices, I discovered about how women in menopause ADHD can be spiked, and actually ADHD can make us more overstimulated.
Yes.
So for some women, two things can happen. One, touch feels too much, right? It's just like, get off me, right? For other women, they're so almost overstimulated that they're in their mind that their body actually becomes numb. So the only way that they can feel something is if the sex, the penetration sex, is actually quite hard, yeah, quite fast, or they need it on full speed on their little vibrating toy. So I was like, oh, you've got two things, with menopause going on here. And I started to think none of us went to female pleasure school. So I went to pelvic floor school with Jenny Burrell.
Yeah.
But we never talked about the energetics of the pelvic floor, the emotions of the pelvic floor, the trauma of the pelvic floor that goes through, and also the tension of the pelvic floor, which we did. But I was like, oh, okay, so that's really interesting. And then I wanted to develop a way that we could, come together emotionally and energetically without needing talk therapy and without needing intimacy, as in intimacy that we know, because the women are resisting the intimacy and the men are resisting the talking.
Yes.
So we're just going round in circles.
Yes.
The women either give to the men and then think, oh God, I wish, that's ticked off. Or the men feel rejected.
Yeah.
Which is horrible to live with. They want to know if the woman's having an affair, if they'll ever get intimacy back again, if it's their weight, their body, this is normal. Neither all are good or bad. I say that we're not in a fight with men. So that was going on. And then I kind of spoke about it a little bit about what is called feminine energy. And feminine energy, very quickly, is receiving, right? We receive. And I was like, oh my God, all my life I've been pushing, like which we just spoke about. It was, do you need any help? No, I'm okay. Because it wasn't going to be done my way. And I was like, oh my God, I'm actually I've run a business and a home, and they call it in masculine energy, but basically we're in survival. We have to live this way. We have to hustle and get to work. And, I hate the saying, we can do anything a man can do and whilst bleeding. No, we do it bleeding and then we're depleted of energy for a week. We can do it, but we don't actually want it. Doesn't actually do much for our health. And I was like, oh, that's really easy, really interesting. And I started to just learn about feminine embodiment and how, by not going, I'm fine with this tightness or this snappiness or this passive aggressiveness or this control, if we actually kind of like surrender and go like, oh, they're not doing it for you, they're doing it for the house. They're not doing it for you, they're doing it for their child. I started to surrender and I started to soften and I started to just become like, just softer. And I became magnetic. Like it was like the softer I became, the more help my partner wanted to give me. The softer I became, the more he found his own purpose.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and a little bit with my boy's dad as well. So I developed a feminine embodiment way that busy women can do because let's face it, we're not on a beach in Bali sipping coconuts in a floaty dress, dancing to embodiment ecstatic music on mushrooms. As much as I love that, my life isn't like that quite now. I'm cleaning out the cat poo, out the cat litter, going to Aldi, getting the specials on discounts. And, that's my life.
Yeah.
So I developed a feminine embodiment way that we could do, I don't want to say the real world, but we could do in this world. And also a way that women could understand their feminine nervous system. So all the nervous system work that we've done, guess what? It's a bit like the exercise. It's all being tested on a man.
Of course.
And Jenny Burrell, you will know this, Jackie, everything, all the studies tested on a 20-year-old man's body.
Yeah.
Not us in midlife, not women going through bleeds, etc.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh. And then I realized that the nervous system, the vagus nerve, goes down to the cervix, right the way into it. So I developed this way that I call just so that you can understand, cervical breathing, which is breathing down instead of what I call the spider breath. When you're like, most of the time you're in this kind of like tense state.
Yeah.
So most of us are in this spider breath most of the way. We're braced. We're ready for the next thing that's going to go wrong or the next thing that's going to annoy us. So we're in this braced state. So I developed this kind of softer breath, cervical breathing, and also reflexology, don't you?
Yeah.
Everyone knows reflexology and acupuncture and massage.
Yeah.
But we never actually do that internally inside our vagina.
Right.
Now think about the friction it's had. Think about the smear test. Think about the coils. Think about the birth. Think about tampons. Think about men's energies that were like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Or touch that didn't feel like love. Emptiness after intimacy. We've all had it, and we've all been touched that has felt painful, whether we said, oh, that was painful, or actually we made the right noises to get it over with. There's not a woman that hasn't done that. And then we've got religion and religion and taboo all on top of that, right? So actually, every woman's vagina isn't feeling supple and the blood flow and everything. And of course, all you read is get lube. That's going to help you. Yeah. And to us, but not, it's like saying, okay, I won't have reflexology. I'll just rub some cream on my feet, and it's the same thing. Yeah. So what, I'm not saying that the cream rubbing on your feet and the lube isn't bad, but what I'm saying is there's all this fascia inside your vagina.
Yeah.
So I developed my own way of what I kind of call vagina reflexology on top of I've just done a couples therapy retreat, which was all about no talking, resentment healing without words, and no touch intimacy. And, it's the no talk therapy and the physical connection without that penetration. So I've just done that. So I've got this whole methods that I do, and you can find me on Instagram's probably the best. It's M, so EMM underscore powered underscore. So M underscore powered underscore. That's the best way to find me. And by the time this show comes up, my new website will be out as well, because this has taken me on such a journey that, my old pelvic floor and all the old things that I used to do, it's kind of moved and into this work now. So, there we go.
Thank you so much, Emma, for covering that, because it's really exciting stuff what you're doing here, because like you said, it's either the cream or, like, I think I've seen this other kind of machine that you can use.
Oh,
But that's about it. Do you know what
yeah.
I mean? So it's really interesting that you've got something that, something different that women can
Yeah.
try. Do you know
And
something?
with machines, it's putting something else inside you, isn't it? Like, come on. And what I love to teach
Exactly.
is how it, how our partners, my partner healed my vagina, together we did it. And I thought I was one of the women that couldn't vagina orgasm. They say 75 to 80% of
Yes.
women were just not born right. We just weren't born right. And you know what we did with that information? We believed it.
Yes. Of course we did.
We believed. So I
Should
thought, you
believe in
know
us.
what? I've always wondered what a vagina orgasm was like, without clitoral stimulation or without anything.
Yes.
So, with my practices and my partner and nervous system work, because intimacy isn't two bodies of genitals, it's two people's nervous systems. That's
Mm,
what intimacy is. So, I
mm,
developed this way with my partner. Guess who now, in her 40s, without HRT? I wish I could have HRT, but without HRT, can
mm.
vagina orgasm.
That's
Even
brilliant.
with prolapse, because I can hear people saying, well, I've got prolapse, I've got a weak pelvic floor, and I've got vagina atrophy. Yes, I
Mm,
have all three of them as well. Although I don't call it a weak pelvic floor because she's powerful pelvic floor.
exactly.
And I know how to support her. So that I don't have anymore. But yes, I have prolapse, and yes, I have vagina atrophy, and yes, I can vagina orgasm. So there we go.
That is amazing. So we'll end the show on that. Thank you so much for being a guest today. And thank you all for watching and listening. And if you have any questions for me or my guest, ask them in the comments, like or subscribe, and I'll see you on the next session.
Thank you. Bye, Jackie.